Howdy Neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we are continuing our 31 days of horror, and we are on day, 19. Today we're doing The Exorcist, and forgive me for not being here for the last few days. I've hurt myself at the gym and messed up my leg, and I've been limping around and not able to get to my computer to do these live streams all week long, but I have watched some movies, and I am doing a full spoiler review of Halloween Ends. It gets like a thumb here, like it's in the middle somewhere, so we'll figure that out later. Anywho, don't forget, give this video a like and subscribe, and I'll keep pumping out more of these bad boys for you to like or argue with me about on Facebook. But please don't argue with me on Facebook. Do it here, where Facebook can't edit you out or block you or kick you out of the group for 3 days or some other nonsense like that when you say something mean or funny. Um, but so I watched The Exorcist, and it's not nearly as bad as I remember it. Now, I know I was being a little dramatic last week when I talked about how god awful and big of a dumpster fire this movie was, and it is, but it's not as bad as my memory of it is. I honestly haven't seen it since I was about 21 or so it's been a while. Um, and so now I'm watching it with fresh eyes and going into it with fresh perspective, a new attitude, a new outlook on life, and it's okay. I mean, it's still long and boring, and there's so much that can be fixed and tightened up and cut. And we really didn't need everybody's story throughout the whole movie. Father Marin digging up artifacts and contributing almost nothing to the story except for him finding that one statue that comes back later on at the end after he exorcises the demon out of Reagan. And what's interesting is that's the first and last time that statue is shown in the movie, and there's no connection to it or the demon possessing Reagan or it should having any reason to actually be there. So it's interesting that that kind of bookends the movie. Now, then aside from Father Marin stuff, then we've got to go show Father Damien and how he's losing his faith and having trouble dealing with the fact that he's a priest and he gave up a brilliant and quite lucrative career in psychology, where he could have been living in a condo in an apartment high above the city and had his mother living in a much nicer setup than she had, where she died, alone in a hospital, and he holds himself responsible for all of that. And I understand why it's necessary, because all of that for Father Damien's backstory in the movie relates later on when the demon starts speaking to him about his mother and how she was disappointed in him and how he failed her as a child, and just messing with him as demons tend to do in these things. Um, we also got all of Reagan and her mother's backstory, the single mom, the Hollywood actress, the celebrity parties, and having to raise your daughter and all of that, and uh, the father not being in the picture. It's like there's just so much going on in this movie before it even starts to get interesting. And people will say that this is the scariest movie of all time, and I'm going to disagree. This is probably one of the most shocking movies of all time because it has a lot of shocking imagery and scenes going on. Um, Especially if you're extremely religious, it's a doozy if you're a religious person. Um, but I didn't find it at all scary. I was not scared. I never scared of this movie as a child, and I was not scared of it in my 20s, and I'm not scared of it now. But I see it has a lot of amazing shock value, and for an audience in 1973, you guys weren't nearly as desensitized to scary things and violence and gore and blood and all the blasphemy going on in the movie. So yeah, I imagine this would have done y'all dirty. Um, but it also plays with the balance between religion and medicine, because it felt like it wanted to confuse the viewer and make you wonder if Reagan was actually possessed by a demon or if it was something psychological and part of a mental disorder that she may have had. And the movie gives you the hard answer, like it's a possession, it's a demon. And I think that a much better version of The Exorcist, because The Exorcist doesn't need to be remade, and I'll get to that here in just a second, but A movie that would technically count as a better version of The Exorcist would be The Exorcism of Emily Rose. If you've never seen that, that movie, really does toe the line between mental health issues and uh, actual demonic possession. So, and Jennifer Carpenter gives a beast of a performance. I mean, I'd clap, but I'm holding a microphone, so leg slapper. Yeah, there we go. Got the clap. I, I said that stupid. I'm sorry. Um, so we get to see, like I said, everybody's backstory. Everybody's got a story. There's too many threads on this one particular story, and I think that that really slows it down. And you've got what, a 2 hour movie, and maybe the last 20 minutes are actually action packed and good, and you're just sitting around watching people talk and talk and talk. And I know that's what I'm doing here, but like, you guys like me. This is, I'm not here to bore you. I'm here to tell you why things are boring, um, in my opinion. So. Uh, there was a lot of talking and not a lot of action. Me growing up in the age of the slasher movie, I expect blood and boobies everywhere I look. Um, so this movie does tend to drag for me a bit, but it's fine. Having said that, it's fine. It's always worth a watch. And now, I'm not going to say that Halloween Ends was a bad movie, but it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't necessary. Overall, Halloween 2018 was a solid requel. And I say requel because it's a sequel and it's a remake of a sequel by a reboot of a sequel, I'm sorry, uh, to the original Halloween movie, and then going on and branching off to its own little series from there. And it didn't need to do three movies; it could have done one and bowed out. Um, Halloween Kills, had some fun kills and some fun scenes in it, but it was a little unnecessary. And Jamie Lee Curtis herself said it was a filler movie between uh, Halloween 2018 and Halloween Ends. And then you get to Halloween Ends, and once again, it is dull. It is boring, except for the first kill of the movie, which we'll talk about later. But there's no real good action until the last half hour of the thing, and why bother then? It's why did you make a movie? Why did you make a 2 hour movie for 30 minutes of good screen time? It seems like a waste, and it was unnecessary. And I know y'all are sitting there thinking, David, why are you talking about Halloween sequels here in the Exorcist review? Because Bloomhouse, the guys that made these recent Halloween 2018 ends and or kills and ends movies, are making a sequel trilogy to The Exorcist. First of all, The Exorcist 2 really sucked. The Exorcist 3 was a solid movie. Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, was in it, and they brought back Father Damien and the possession, and it was a really, really good take on the Exorcist movie again, seeing as how he did tell the demon to jump into him. So he still had the demon from the end of part one, not really dying the way we all thought he did at the end of the movie. So, all of that's going to change because they're going to pretend that Exorcist 2 and 3 and possibly even Exorcist the beginning with Stellan Skarsgård playing a younger Father Merrin, which was a solid movie. I did like that one. Even its the alternate cut. I don't remember exactly why, but there are two versions of this movie, and they're both two completely different versions of the movie. And the one that I like, obviously, is the one that feels like a love letter to the original movie, and the one that is okay but not great is Dominion. That's what it's called. Um, and I don't remember why there was an alternate cut of that movie made, but there was. Uh, I believe this new trilogy will just follow the rules of the first movie. It could take place a few years later, obviously, so they can recast an older girl to play Reagan, either in her teens or 20s or 30s. I don't think they're going to jump the gun and push it 50 years later, even though they did with Halloween going 40 years later, so that Jamie Lee Curtis could be in it. I don't know if Linda Blair would be up to it. That's still yet to be determined. So they're making a sequel trilogy to The Exorcist. And if there's one thing I know about sequel trilogies, they suck. Um, but let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm doing my Halloween Ends review and talking about the new Hellraiser movie. So till then, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.